Alright guys, let's move to our next topic, which is method overriding. To learn method overriding, there is one prerequisite which everyone should know, that is inheritance. I am assuming that you guys already have some basic understanding of inheritance. Okay, let's move to method overriding. What is method overriding? Method overriding is nothing when base class method and child class method having same signature or same declaration part, then child class method will override the base class method, and that is known as method overriding. Now let's understand method overriding by the implementation. I have this base class having this method with the name of method, and then I have child class. This is again having the same signature of method. What is signature of a method? This part, which is also known as declaration part of the method, is known as signature of the method. So when signature of the methods of base class and child class is exactly same, then child class method will override the base class method, which means when we call child dot method, the priority goes to child class method. This is about method overriding. Now my question is, in case of this method overriding, if I want to call parent class method, then how I can make the call? Okay, because child class method is going to override base class method, then how I can call base class method? For that reason, we have super keyword. Super we already have seen in data hiding concept, where we have parent class data member and child class data members both were same name, and then we were accessing parent class data member using super keyword. Similarly, if base class method and child class method having same signature, means in case of method overriding and you want to access parent class method, you can again use super keyword to make the call of parent class method. But there is a trick, that is, you cannot define the calling of super or this keyword inside static method. Static method doesn't allow you to access this or super keyword, which means if I'll try to call the base class method here by saying super dot method, that is not allowed. We cannot use this super keyword in static context. Then how I will make the call to superclass method? So for that reason, what I need to do is I can make this call instead of here, I can make it from here. All right. Now what is going to be happen? This is instance method. When I'm calling this method, child class method is going to execute and it is going to print child class method. And from there, call goes to the parent class method, and then base class method will get execute. Let me run this. You can see child class method is getting print and then base class method is also getting execute, right? But my question is, if I only want to execute base class method, I don't want to execute child class method at all, then how I can achieve this? Because I cannot use super in static method, and I also don't want to make the call from my child class overridden method. In that case, I need to create additional method in my child class. Let's see this example. Here I am creating one more method which is named as access parent method, and in here I am making the call for parent method by using super dot method. Now when I call access parent method, the call goes to here and from here it goes to the parent class method. And let's run this and you can see I am getting base class method here. So if you want to call parent class method in case of method overriding, then you have to add one more additional method in your child class, and from there you have to make the call. As we know that method overriding can achieve by having exact same signature in parent and child class methods. But the question is there any other approach where we can make slight changes in method signatures from parent to child class method, and then even also we will be able to achieve method overriding? The answer is yes. The other approach of achieving method overriding by changing signature is you can change the return type, and that we also known as covariant type of method overriding. There are some rules associated with method overriding by covariant type or by changing return type. Rule number one is both methods, parent and child methods, return type must be of non-primitive type. It could be class type, array type or interface type, but you cannot define methods return type as int, float, double, char, any primitive type if you want to achieve method overriding by changing return type. That's the rule number one. Rule number two is there must be parent child relationship between both of the methods return types. Okay, let's understand this with this example. What I am doing is I have a class A here and then I have a class B. Class B is a child of class A, and then I have class base 3 and class child 3, which is there anywhere in my project. Okay, class child 3 is extending class base 3, and obviously base class method is coming to child class method, and I'm trying to override that method by changing return type of those methods. So what I am doing, I am following rule number one first. I am making parent class method return type and child class method return type both return type as class type because both must be of non-primitive types. That's the rule number one I am following here. Rule number two is both return type is having parent child relationship. If you see class A and class B is having parent child relationship. Whatever the type of return type for your method is defined, the same type of object you have to return or same type of value you have to return. That's why I'm returning class A object from base class method and B class object from child class method. Now method overriding will work. If I run this, I can simply get expected output, which is child class method is easily overriding base class method. Okay. Now, don't think that you must have to follow this approach only. You must have to define classes first and then only you will define the return type. That's not a rule. Okay. You can define any class type. For example, base class method, I am defining return type as base class type, and from child class method I am defining return type as child class type. Obviously here I have to return base class object and here I have to return child class object. Then also it's fine. If I run this, still I am able to achieve method overriding. Now let's talk about our next approach to achieve method overriding even by changing access modifiers. In this implementation, I have base class and child class, and I am making changes in access modifiers. Base class is having different access modifier and child class is having different access modifier. There again I am able to achieve method overriding, but again there are two rules associated with this. Rule number one is you can never have parent class method access modifier as private to implement method overriding, because if you make parent class method private, then that method will not be available to child class and then method overriding cannot be implemented. Rule number two says that parent class method access modifier and child class method access modifier must have weaker to stronger relationship, which means that parent class method access modifier must be weaker than the child class method access modifier. Now, how would you know that which one is weaker and which one is strong? I have mentioned here increasing order of access modifier in terms of scope, and basis on that you can decide that which one is weaker and which one is strong. For example, default is weaker one, protected is stronger than default, and weaker than public, and public is the strongest one. How we are deciding the scope of access modifiers, that we are going to learn in access modifiers topic, which is today itself we are going to cover, so don't worry about it. So because I have made parent method access modifier protected and public is the strongest one in this order, that means child class method now can override base class method. If I run this, you can see I'm getting child class method is overriding easily parent class method. But let's suppose if child is having something default, okay, and parent is having protected, then it is not going to allow me because you have to change the visibility of the method to protect it. So you have to make sure you will use correct order of access modifiers while implementing method overriding by changing access modifiers. Now let's move to our next approach of implementing method overriding, that is known as method hiding. What is method hiding? When parent class method and child class method both are defined as static type, then we call that method hiding. As you know, method overriding is used to achieve runtime polymorphism. And what runtime polymorphism says? Runtime polymorphism says that when object bound with the functionality at runtime is known as runtime polymorphism. And how we achieve runtime polymorphism? By method overriding. Because when we are overriding the method and when we are calling the method, if the method is overridden there in the child, then child class method is going to execute. And if method is not overridden there, then parent class method comes to the child class and that will going to execute. So that decision that which method need to be execute will taken at runtime, and that's why we are saying object is bound with the functionality at runtime, that which method need to execute. And that is what runtime polymorphism is, and we are implementing it, or we are achieving it by using this concept of method overriding, right? But if you see, if your parent class method and child class method both are of static type, for example, you can see this example. There I have static method, parent method, and child method is also static, and then I'm calling method. Because method is of static type, I can call that by using class name. And because I'm using class name, I don't need to even create the object. Then where I am binding the object with the functionality? We are not binding the object with functionality in case of static method. That means object is not bounding with the functionality at runtime or compile time. And that's why no runtime polymorphism is implementing in this case. And that's why we are not calling it method overriding. We are calling it method hiding. We are simply saying in case of static method, parent class method will be hid by child class method, and that is method hiding. Then the last approach of achieving method overriding is by changing throw exception from parent class method and child class method. This is something even if I try now, you will not able to understand. So I'm going to cover this type of method overriding in exception handling topic. Till then you have to remember this, that we can achieve method overriding even by changing exception types from parent class method to child class method. Now I'm summarizing everything. What is method overriding? If base class method signature and child class method signature is exactly same, then child class method override base class method, and that is method overriding. Next question, how many ways we can achieve method overriding? We can achieve method overriding total 5 different approaches. The first way is if parent method and child class method having same signatures, then we can implement method overriding. Second is we can even achieve method overriding by changing return type, which is also known as covariant type. The third is we can achieve method overriding by changing access modifiers. And fourth is we can achieve method overriding by having static access modifiers for both of the methods, that we call as method hiding. And the last one is we can even achieve method overriding by changing exception types from parent method to child class method.